What's up? This your boy Fats checking in with you with another one. People always try to test you by trying to make you pay for something that you don't really have no business paying for. And what I mean by that is people like to try to extort you over stuff while you're in prison. They want you to pay for your services. They want you to sit at their table and you got to pay them. Everything that they do, they trying to get some type of profit out of it. So you got to be real careful when it comes to certain stuff like that. I remember one time this dude named Red was like a light-skinned dude. He had short hair. He was kind of buff and stuff like that. He was scandalous as a motherfucker. This dude right here, I couldn't really believe that I even listened to him, how we even started out. It was my first day in the penitentiary, and when I come to the trial hall, when I get in there, I don't really know where to sit at. So, but basically, I was going to sit on the wall with my back towards the wall, so I was trying to find a little table where I can kind of sit at. So the first table I sat at, it was the Aryan Brotherhoods. I sat at their table. They made me get up real fast. They were disrespectful towards me. They didn't really listen to none of the stuff that I was really trying to explain to them because, like I said, I didn't really know where I was supposed to sit at. The next table I sat at, it was probably the Crips table. I sat down with them for a second, and then I had to get up again and go to another table. So when I get to the other table, I'm like, shit, fuck this, I've got to figure out something because I ain't going to be sitting moving around like that. So what I ended up doing was I standed up for a minute, like right where the juice coolers was, eating my food and drinking my juice right there, like a few other people was doing too because they couldn't sit down anyway. So I leave up out the chow hall, boom. The next morning when I go to breakfast, when I come in there, I go straight over to the juice machine and eat my food over there. And that's when that dude Red come up to me. He's like, hey, you can come over here and sit. So I'm like, all right. So I go over there and sit. I eat my food real fast. Boom. I come back to my cell. And then when lunchtime come, I say, okay, I can go over here and sit. So when I come to lunch, that's when I noticed that somebody else was sitting in my seat. So I'm like, shit, where I'm going to sit at over here? So I just sat down anywhere, boom. They didn't really trip or nothing like that. So I'm like, that's cool. So dinner time come, and when dinner time come, I'm sitting there eating. That's when Red come over to me. He's like, hey, you sitting over here, you're going to have to give me something for sitting over here in this area. And I'm like, shit, why I got to give you something for sitting over here, Basically, he telling me that in order for me to sit over in this area, I had to give him something. So I'm like, what you want me to give you? He's like, you have to give me a couple of honey buns or something on store day. So I'm like, shit, I ain't going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I didn't really have no money or nothing like that. My financial situation was kind of bad at that time. So I know I wasn't going to be able to give him nothing on store day. So he's like basically telling me that I had to give him like a cup of honey buns in order for me to sit over in this area. So I get up and I walk off. I'm like, I ain't trying to hear that shit. So when I get to my cell, I'm sitting there thinking now, I'm like, damn, why is this motherfucker trying to get me to give him 2 honey buns to sit over here in this area? So then when I go to breakfast, I'm sitting there eating, and that's when Red come up to me again, and he's like, on store date, you got to make sure that you give me them honey buns in order for you to be sitting over here. So I'm like, nah, I ain't going to be doing that. I ain't going to give you no honey buns. If I do give you some honey buns, I'm going to bring these honey buns to Chow, and I'm going to eat these motherfuckers right in front of you. I ain't going to give you no honey buns. And I kept expressing that to him. Hey, man, I ain't going to give you nothing for sitting over here. Ain't nobody else giving nothing else for sitting over here. So why should I? Just because I'm new doesn't necessarily mean that, you can kind of run up on me and try to get me to pay for something. So basically, I'm just telling him, hey, I ain't really going for that, So he's like, hey, if you don't got my honey buns on Wednesday, it's going to be a problem. Now, today is Thursday. Store day just already passed. So I'm like, shit, Wednesday. And so I got like a week in order to pay this dude. So I'm like, shit, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So, I go to breakfast on Friday. I'm sitting at the table. I'm seeing some people. They bringing Red, honey buns. They bringing him like sausages. They bringing them bags of chili and stuff like that. The man getting all type of stuff on this day. I'm like, damn. So I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, shit, people really paying this dude, But shit, I said to myself, shit, I ain't gonna pay him. So then I leave out, boom. And when I'm leaving out, he walk up behind me. He's like, hey, you got to make sure that you get that, just like everybody else is paying, you got to pay too. So I was like, shit, I ain't going to pay. I'm telling him from the gate, hey, I ain't going to pay you because shit, like I said, my money's kind of funny. So I don't know how I'm going to do it anyway. This is what I'm thinking in my head, I ain't telling him that I ain't got no money or nothing like that because I don't want to, kick the situation out fast like that. So he basically telling me on the way back to the sale house, hey, make sure that I get that. So I'm like, shit, to myself, I'm saying to myself in my head, I ain't giving you shit. So I walk in my sale house, he leave and go on about his business. Boom. I go to lunch, and when we go to lunch, he's sitting down with me again. He basically stressing me, making sure that I'm be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But I keep telling him, nah, man, I ain't gonna do that. And he's like, it's gonna be a problem if you don't. So I was like, shit, I guess this is just gonna be a problem. You're just gonna have to whoop me or whatever, or put your hands on me, or I'm gonna beat your ass or something. So I'm sitting there, like I said, just talking to him, just listen to this motherfucking bullshit ass conversation this motherfucker giving, because basically he just telling me, hey, this is how we do things around here. And I'm like, shit, I ain't how you do things, because shit, I'm saying to myself, shit, I ain't gonna be going through no type of situation like this fucking with you if you gonna be this type of disrespectful towards me, trying to get me to try to get you to pay me something. I ain't gonna be doing that. So then I leave out the child hall. Boom, I go back to my cell. Boom, on hamburger day, which is Saturday, I come down there, get my food. He come over to the table. He's like, hey, if you give me the hamburger, you ain't got to give me the honey buns. I'm like, shit, nah, I'm about to eat this motherfucking hamburger. I start eating it right in front of his motherfucking face, eating that shit. I didn't give a fuck. Fuck this dude, Start eating that motherfucking shit, eat my motherfucking fries too. I'm just doing all type of crazy ass shit in front of him, just being disrespectful, just basically letting him know that I ain't really gonna go for none of that shit that he's trying to talk about. So then I leave out. Boom, Monday come. When Monday come, that's when everybody basically, you get your little store sheet that you can kind of fill out. So when I come to Child, he's like, hey, did you fill that store sheet out to get them honey buns? I'm like, shit, I told you I ain't gonna do that, man. I told you I ain't gonna give you no motherfucking honey buns for none of that shit. And he's like, shit, you better, he just kept basically looking at me kind of aggressive. And I'm looking at him back at him kind of aggressive as well, because shit, you ain't gonna run this motherfucking game over on me like that. So then Tuesday comes, so he's like, hey, you gonna have that tomorrow? I'm like, man, how many times I got to tell? I kept telling him at the child hall, how many times I got to tell you, dog, I'm not gonna give you nothing, man. I'm not gonna do none of that stuff. He's like, well, shit, we about to see. And I was like, yeah, we sure about to see. So when I get back to my cell, now I'm working out, thinking, punching my, doing all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because I think we men this dude about to fight. But shit, I ain't really know what was gonna really go on. So then Wednesday on store day come, and then that's when he wanted stuff. So when I'm coming to the child hall, I think I come at lunchtime this time. So then when we come, he's like, hey, you get that? And I'm like, I told you, man, I ain't gonna give it to you, man. I told you I ain't gonna be doing nothing like that. I don't work like that. And so he's like, well, shit, I don't know where you gonna sit at tomorrow if you ain't got them honey buns. I said, shit, I'm gonna sit right over here tomorrow. Shit, cause that's how I'm gonna do it. You ain't gonna run no motherfucking game on me and think that, everything is gonna be cool and fine and dandy, and that I'm just gonna keep paying you 2 honey buns a week. And I ain't gonna be doing none of that shit, because shit, we ain't rolling like that. So he was like, shit, yeah, we is. So I was like, shit, we gonna see tomorrow. Like I said, when I'm going back to my cell, I'm still punching, trying to make sure that I'm up on my hand game. So boom. When I go to dinner, I go and sit in my normal seat, as usual. Red come in there, and when he come in there, he's like, you got them honey buns? I was like, nah, I ain't got them motherfucking honey buns. I told you I wasn't giving them to you. So he's like, well, you got to go find you somewhere else to sit. I was like, bullshit, I'm sitting right here. I ain't moving no motherfucking where. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. He was like, shit, you got to get up out of here, man, because if you ain't paying, shit. Basically, what he was telling me was if I wasn't paying, that I had to leave up out the area. So that's when I get up. When I get up, I'm like, shit, flip my tray over, boom. And when I flip my tray over, you can see everybody in the chow hall kind of looking at me. While they looking at me, that's when I get real aggressive on him. I'm like, man, what the fuck, man? What's up, man? You ain't gonna run no motherfucking game on me or try to play me out in no motherfucking honey buns or stuff like that. So then he's looking at me. And when he's looking at me, I can see that he got kind of weak on me, because he see that I got kind of aggressive. So I was like, shit, man, I ain't paying you shit. If anything, you have to pay me, you know. And he was like, shit, I ain't doing none of that. I was like, shit, you gonna have to do something because shit, if you want me to pay you, got to pay me something. We both got to pay each other. So he was like, nah, I ain't doing none of that stuff. So I was looking at him. I was getting, I don't know where I got my energy from, but I got a burst of energy. Basically, I was telling him, shit, we can tear this motherfucker up if you want to. We can do it however you want to do it. We can do it that way. We can do it your way. We can do it my way. We can do it however we gonna do it. But we gonna do something. So he was like, he was looking at me. Then I can tell he was getting kind of nervous and stuff. So when he got kind of nervous, I was like, that's when I really got kind of aggressive on him. You know what I'm saying? I walked up on him. I was like, shit, man, what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? And he was like, shit, man, I ain't even without none of that stuff. I ain't trying to do nothing like that. I was like, I know, because I ain't trying to pay you none of the motherfucking honey buns either. So then I eat my food and I walk out. And when I walk out, he run up behind me. He was like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? He was like, I ain't really try to do nothing like that. I ain't really try to pull your card or nothing like that. He said, this is just, how we normally do stuff around here. And I was like, yeah, I can tell this how you normally do it because, like I said, I seen him already giving people stuff. So I already knew that's what type of game he was. He was on an extortion type of game. He was getting people all hooked up and making them pay and stuff. So I was like, shit, man, don't play with me like that, man. I don't play like that. And plus I'm young too. Shit, I don't really know what's supposed to go on in the penitentiary. And here it is, you running up on me telling me I have to pay you to do this and do that. I ain't trying to do none of that. I said, in the way that you came at me, man, you could have asked me for something and I probably would have gave it to you. But by you basically threatening me to make me pay you these 2 honey buns to sitting in the area, that's bullshit. You ain't supposed to be doing stuff like that. You supposed to be real motherfucker in here just like everybody else. You ain't supposed to be trying to run no game on nobody or try to extort nobody over something. And he's just looking at me. He's like, yeah, that's real, man. I know it, man. He said, but that's just how we do it up in here. I was like, shit, I ain't how I do it up in here. You know what I'm saying? Because shit, the way I do it, I just do my time and hurry and get the fuck up out of here. I ain't trying to, get involved with no type of drama up in here or anything like that. I'm just trying to basically do my time and get up out of here. So like I said, me and him was just talking, you know what I'm saying, for a minute. We kind of calmed down the whole situation. I walked off from him, he walked off from me. But when I would get to my cell, I was thinking to myself, well, damn, why this dude, always, was on me about them damn honey buns, but here it is now that I kind of checked his ass about the motherfucking honey buns. He ain't really got really too much to say. So I was like, shit, we just gonna leave that situation, you know what I'm saying, alone. You know, ever since every time I come back in there now to see Red, I don't even look at him. He don't look at me. I still see him getting his stuff from people, how he normally do his thing. But shit, he wouldn't get nothing from me because shit, I wasn't really going for nothing like that. Like I said, you don't want to get yourself involved in things like that when you go to the penitentiary because people will try to extort you and try to get over on you on certain things. You just have to play your cards right and stand up for whatever you believe in. You can't never, sit back and think that everything is going to be cool because it ain't going to be cool if you give a person one motherfucking thing, they're going to want 2 things later on. And then after a while, they're going to want 3 and then 4, then 5. And then basically every week you're giving them something. So you got to be real careful when you get placed in situations like that. You can't always assume that somebody's going to be your friend and when you get in there because they ain't. The first thing they're going to try to do is try to get something over on you to try to make sure that you can pay them something every week or put you in a situation to where they try to grope on you or something. I mean, it could be anything. So like I said, when you go to the penitentiary, you don't even want to go to the penitentiary. Matter of fact, you don't even want to put yourself in a situation like that to where somebody always going to be in your business or somebody always going to be wondering what you're doing, because it always going to end up in a bad situation. So make sure that you keep your mind straight and keep your to where somebody can try to extort you, because they do that 24/7 in the penitentiary. I mean, you might get there and then the first thing that they want to do is try to extort you out of something. So like I said, when you don't even want to go to the penitentiary to where somebody would try to do something to you. You want to make sure that you keep your mind and everything focused on yourself to where you don't even have to go to them type of situations, because in the end, when somebody trying to extort you, it's only bad on your part, because once they start extorting you, I mean, it ain't gonna never end until after you either have to whoop them or you're gonna have to check them in order for them to not want to receive anything from you, because once they start taking it from you, it's a done deal. This your boy Fatsnem checking in with you with another one. Y'all stay up and y'all be peaceful.